trying every poor fellow for the master and leaving him. We know how crazy the so-called spiritual world is. We try something for some time, because the fellow is lucky, we try him. And when he goes into ill luck, we leave him. Like that. And sometimes when God is not lucky, we stop thinking about him. Because he is not lucky enough to be meditated by such a great one as myself. Such an important fellow as myself, stop thinking of him means he must be unlucky. Like that, the second item goes. The third item, see. Doubt. After 3 or 4 years, we begin to think, is all this true, or the imagination of a madman? Why it is not possible that Patanjali would have been mad or crazy? Or why it is not true that Christ himself was insane or hysteric? Because he led himself to crucifixion. Like that, we don't care who he is, we get a doubt about the process. We are doing all this. What is it? Something answer. What for? What benefit do you get? So, the third obstacle. They are vacuum brakes. Because they don't stop you, they make you stop. That's the great danger. Next one. Mistake. That is committing mistakes. We think that we are practicing yoga or spiritualism. We do horrible things sometimes. We torture ourselves. Sometimes we don't eat for 10 days. We live on hot water. We stand on our head for 2 hours. We try if we can put this leg on our shoulders and stand on one leg for 2 days or 3 days like this. Torture. Many things we do. This is called a mistake, and you will render the machine inefficient and damaged beyond repair. Afterwards, even though we know the right way of approach, the machine is not available. It cannot be rebored. So, this is the greatest of all the obstacles. Mistake. Suppose they are not there. The most powerful than all these things is lethargy. Since the age we are 16 or 17, we develop a good taste to do yoga or spiritual. We have to do it. Let us do it. Now, after we finish our education, we'll do it. Alright. Then we are seeking our job. Now let us settle somewhere. So until we settle in the grave, we postpone the whole thing. This is what is called lethargy. And even after we start, why can't we do it from tomorrow? Like that. This is one obstacle. Lethargy. It's called alasya. That is laziness. Mentally lazy. That is lethargy. And mentally lazy. Indolent. That is also called indolence. Next is to be busy is the is another great obstacle. See, time does not permit. See how busy I am. I am trying to do it for a very long time, but I am too busy. Actually, my time doesn't permit me. That's the greatest, one of the great things. To be busy. To be active is health. To be busy is a mental disease. We should distinguish between the two.
That's interesting, perhaps, to see that lethargy was more in the Orient.
Ah, yes, exactly.
Busy.
Is in the Occident. Yes, E and F, we can take these two things as the leading features of the Orient and the Occident.
This is
The Orient finds himself, tries to do it tomorrow.
no, it's nirvana. No?
Yes, nirvana, exactly. His foolish idea of nirvana.
Here's money making.
Yes. This fellow is too busy and his time doesn't permit him. That is how the two fellows deceive themselves. Next. Illusion. When the masters asked Blavatsky to do something,
Because they are all calling up
To find out,
to do that work you are doing.
illusion is what we see in the name of spiritual practice. See, when Blavatsky was asked to do something to the world, she said, "We will start theosophy."
Theosophy.
That we start some organization. Then the master said, "It is your responsibility. But if you want to do, you do it." Then she had her followers. Then after some time what happened? They began to place some planchette in the house or a table or a stool and receive messages from a nonsensical unknown source which they called masters. And there are people even today say, Master Moria asked me to eat 8 apples a day because he received a message. Like that. And the fellow begins to eat and goes sick. Like that. They call it spiritualism. They call it theosophy. But what theosophy was is different. So we understand something. People go into spiritism and all those things. They call it spiritualism. So having misconceptions and practicing them, wasting their life and going into dangerous things. That is caused by illusion. The next thing and the last is please note down the 9th thing. Instability because of not finding experiences. Instability because of not finding any experiences. So every day the one fellow asks his colleague, "Have you any experiences this night? What is your experience?" The common sense tells us that spiritualism has no experience at all except life. But people want to fool themselves by self-stupefaction and self-mystification to find out some experiences. That is, I have gone into the highest mental plane and I received a golden yellow light, like that. People narrate to each other, I saw somebody, it must be the master or his nephew. Like that. And after some time, these shadows will stop because they lose interest. Then we have tried yoga for 5 years. We don't have any experiences. We will stop it. These are the things that are the aberrations of the mind and the senses. And the Lord is not touched by any one of these things. When you get the touch of the Lord, you are not affected by these things. This is what it says. We stop it here. Yeah, only 8? No, sorry. 9 then. Is unstable nature. That is, without any cause, a person has unstable nature, congenital. That is a big block. Suppose, even though he has some experiences, he says, let us see what the experience of the other thing also. That is congenital instability. That is the main thing. By birth, the fellow is having some hereditary trouble, that is hereditary harmonic trouble. According to homeopathy, it is due to gonorrheal poisonings in the forefathers. In the third generation, it gives the unstable, crankish nature. That is called congenital instability. These are the obstacles. And you should not try to fight against them, because you begin to live in them. When you try to fight in them, you are thinking about them, therefore you will go into them. Meditate Om, try to listen to it, think of it while meditating. Half of the process is given, the latter half is there to be given tomorrow. And when you get a touch of the Lord of the senses and mind, all these things will disappear, because he is not touched. You will not be touched by these things. That is the only way of coming or overcoming obstacles. Thank you.
Excuse me. Would you care to say something about the practice that you mentioned also in the book, The Yoga of Patanjali, concerning Soham?
Yes, the next,
okay.
Actually, tomorrow's lecture includes that.
Okay.
Yes, but here, in this case, progress is only according to one's own understanding. But in this process, progress is not according to the understanding, but according to the higher truth of oneself. Therefore, take any one path you like and don't change the paths. That is what is given here. You can name it in any way, but trying one thing for some time and going to another thing is not desirable, because the syllabus of one teacher may be different and the other may be different. If I make a shift from one college to the other in the middle of a course, I'll have all the disadvantages. And that is generally under ordinary circumstances, that's not desirable. That is, progress does not depend upon any school of thought. It depends upon the disciple himself. Therefore, any school of thought is sufficient to give the real progress. That's the thing.
Thank you.
Now we will exclusively deal today with the science of breath and the art of breathing, which is very important and which is often much misunderstood. And after this lesson, also it is absolutely necessary for us to go through the passage on the heading breathing and ponder on this, because it contains all the points we elucidate now. First of all, let us try to understand the mechanism of the respiration. it is described like this. From eternity or eternal consciousness, which we call the spirit or the Lord of all Lords, this eternity contains spirit and soul. Soul is also a part of it. It is double. From this comes down what we call the periodicity, which acts as a law to breathe out the creation and once again reabsorb the whole creation by breathing in. This periodicity produces the law of pulsation. This is called in Sanskrit, in yoga language, prana. In some books, prana is translated as breath. It is not wrong. It is wrong, not right. Breath is the result of prana. We are breathing because of the activity of the law of pulsation. This causes the following items in us. Double pulsation, that is centripetal and centrifugal. That is, one pulse is different from the second. Again the first, again the third. Like that, there is a couple in the pulsations which are different from each other and which exist together always. There are two different pulsations which exist together as a couple.
As a?
Couple.
Couple.
A double.
Couple.
Yes.
Double.
This plus and minus. No?
Yes, that is the one pulsation centripetal, the other pulsation centrifugal.
Yes.
Both put together, they form the couple, and then alternation of these pulsations. And then repetition of the alternation. That is, the alternation repeats. These are the activities that take place in the prana plane of existence. And this repetition produces the quality called habit. It is because of habit we are living. Because the respiration repeats because of habit. The circulation, the pulsation of the heart repeats because of habit. All this process is music. That is how the test explains. Because what we discover as music and play has only these principles as the basis. You judge whether the sounds produced are musical or not by only these standards. And the center which regulates this and which externalizes the sense of music is the pineal gland. It's a point of interest.
Where is this gland?
In the cerebrum, in the middle, there is a cavity like, I'll show you after anatomy book. There is something like a cavity. There is one projection that is called the pineal gland, and there is another smaller projection after some gap that is called the pituitary body. The pineal gland is the cause of music in us, and the pituitary body is the regulator of the comprehension.
It is in relation with that center here, with that chakra?
Yes, they are all the components, inhabitants of our Shambhala, the head center.
Yes.
So, as far as the present topic is concerned, all these put together form the music. So, these things cause respiration, circulation, you can note down. These things cause in us the process of respiration, the process of circulation, first on the etheric plane, and then on the astral plane, and then on the liquid, the blood, and then on the solid, the blood vessels and the nerves. That is how it takes place. That's why medical science fails when you attempt things on the physical plane. Here, in the next step, the law of polarity is made manifest. This is how the downpour of the deity takes place. This is called the descent of the Lord into the avatar consciousness. Avatar is often used in the double sense. The regular process of the descent of the Lord is the original sense of the word avatar. And a distinguished personality who establishes the law once again on earth is also called avatar. But this is only a secondary meaning of the word. So this is the avatar of synthesis. By this, the masters mean a continuous process in the creation and evolution.
This is one of these lower parts of the Antakarana.
Yes, this is all the mechanism
Is
of
that
the
three?
lower Antakarana.
Is that a three?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here, there is something for us to bridge the gap. That's why in the invocation today we have the hint, the higher bridge beginning. There are two bridges called the lower bridge and the higher bridge. This is all according to the language of the masters. And the invocation we had today is given by Master C. This is all building of Antakarana. Now, what we are concerned with is the law of polarity produces the law of differentiation. Because of this law, we feel different from each other, and everyone feels his own individuality as a separate entity. Because it is absolutely necessary to use the vehicles for work. And this gives to the higher mind the power of discrimination. The power of discrimination. This produces two sets of activities in us. Inhalation exhalation. Learning, teaching. That means generally we use it as listening and speaking. The double process. Listening and speaking.
The learning is also inhalation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And assimilation, excretion. Accepting, rejecting. Shining, reflecting. So, these two sets of activities are externalized in the next step. This is called positive negative activity. The inhalation.
Both
The first inhalation.
is positive.
Positive negative.
Ah,
Because it is pouring down to the consciousness of the Deva of air and receiving to the consciousness of the individual. So it is positive to the Deva of air and negative to the individual. So this is called positive negative activity. Exhalation is negative positive activity. That is, we pour out and the Deva of air receives. This is opposite of this. Next. Learning is positive negative. That is, the other person speaks and we hear. This is opposite. Negative, positive. Accepting is assimilation is positive. excretion is negative. And accepting is positive. And rejecting you is negative. Shining is transmitting positive. Reflecting is negative. And a growing awareness into these activities will be caused by the art of breathing.
Why is reflecting negative? Why is reflecting negative?
Because unless it receives, it cannot reflect. It is only a surface. It has no conscious center. That's why our mind has nothing to teach us except reporting the outer things to the inner and inner things to the outer. The higher principles in us are positive, whereas the mind is essentially negative. Now, we have seen that respiration is the result of the double pulsation. And respiration should be submitted to the eternal consciousness. That is the principle of practicing the art of breathing. Eternal consciousness is beyond periodicity. So, we should know the method of submitting the process of respiration to the eternal consciousness. Okay?
Theoretically.
Pardon?
In theory,
Yes.
I can follow it.
Eternal consciousness is represented by Om, and respiration is represented by receiving it as two halves. So this is the mantra of respiration. This is the mantra of soul, heaven, spirit. Soul and spirit. The word is divided into two here. That is, this part is on one side, the second part is on the other side. Half of it is made centripetal, half of it is made centrifugal. And these two things represent the vehicles that serve the process of respiration. Because while taking in breath, if you put your mind upon the sound of breath, you will realize that it is regulated here and it produces the sound S. While breathing out, it is regulated here and it produces H. See? That's why they have given us this mantra. And we have to apply this to our respiration. Do you remember I have given this lecture when we met first time here? In one lecture I have explained about it a little bit. It's there. I think 5 years ago or 6 years ago.
Yeah, 6 years.
By doing so, what happens is the poise in respiration is re-established. Poise, that is equilibrium in respiration, will be re-established. We should know how to re-establish the poise in respiration. Because we lost it. It was there in our childhood. In an averagely healthy child, born to healthy parents, the respiration will be in equilibrium. That is, he breathes in according to the beat and music, which is intended by nature. His respiration is natural. But the natural process of respiration or the music is disturbed whenever there is a shock or a jerk. For example, when we are angry, it is disturbed. When we are jealous, it is disturbed. When we are having fear, fright, it disturbs. Any impulse which is of an astral and emotional nature will disturb the equilibrium of the respiration. When we are anxious, it is disturbed. So, many hundreds of times in the day, we will commit these things. And every time it is being disturbed. There is the law of habit, and it establishes disturbance as a habit after some time. You see, just as it has established the respiration in us to repeat until we leave off the physical vehicle, a new habit is engrafted in us, that is the habit of disturbance. Disturbance becomes a habit. Understand? It is very difficult. Even though we don't want to get disturbed, we get disturbed. That is because of the force of the habit. Habit is more powerful than any one of the conscious layers of our existence. Unless it is so, it cannot protect us not to die. It cannot continue the respiration. If there is not the force of habit, the existence of force of habit, if it is not existing, what happens is every disturbance will close and stop the respiration. So, the force of habit is protecting us by making the respiration continue. But we are engrafting new habits by our behavior, by our being anxious and all these things. Now, we have to break this chain, this vicious circle, somewhere. That is the purpose of the art of breathing, pranayama.
The disturbance is only through emotional things?
Pardon?
It's only through emotional, not through physical, like sport or things like that?
Of course, sometimes they are also physical, rarely, but often they are emotional. The disturbance is caused often emotional, even when it is physical. Awareness of respiration. That is the first step we have to do. Yeah. That is, begin to observe your respiration for some time in the day. Sit in comfort, close your eyes, and make every part of the body relaxed. That is, every nerve and every muscle from head to foot relaxed with the help of the mind. And then you begin to observe the movements that take place during each respiration. By doing so, you will grow aware of the respiration. That is, the activity of the false self that is working in the head center begins to approach the heart center. The activity will be withdrawn to the heart center. Then the head center is released of the disturbance. Then the Shambhala consciousness begins to act. You see? So this is the first step, imperative. Every day we should find some time to observe the movements of our respiration for some time. This is the first step. make the respiration conscious. Do it consciously. Then the second step is establish uniform respiration. That is, begin to inhale and exhale and let the process be under your supervision for some respirations. You see, breathe in slow, soft and deep. So let there be a uniform speed without acceleration or retardation of the respiration. So we use three terms. Do the respiration slow, soft and deep. Soft means there should not be any sound heard by you while respiration. No sound should be produced or heard by you and others when you are taking that respiration. And exhale in the similar way. Slow, soft and deep. And there is the trouble. In the middle, there is what is called kumbhaka, which should not at all be practiced. That is retention of breath, respiration. What some schools teach us in pranayama. So they teach that you count numbers while respiring. Suppose you count 10. You have to retain 4 into 10, 40 counting. And you have to breathe out 2 into 10, 20. And you have to keep the lungs empty 10 by 2, that is 5 counting. Then again breathe in respiration. This is what is being taught by the Hatha Yoga schools. We should be very careful about those things. Neither Patanjali nor the masters nor the author of Bhagavad Gita will be held responsible for the injuries we receive to the mechanism if we practice any other thing except what is given by them.
Isn't there a pause between the aspiration and the exhaling?
No pause.
But a very slight, no?
If you feel like having a pause, have that pause only as long as you feel like having it. That is the next step.
Yeah, I mean naturally speaking.
Yes. Now we are coming to that step. Slower movements can be done and retaining also can be done only when you feel like doing it. And sometimes you will be able to do it. It is necessary, but your process knows more than yourself. Because it is making you live, it is wiser than yourself. Let it be the deciding factor, not yourself.